I would have to say that of all the Italian horror movie soundtracks by British bands based on a movie that doesn't exist, this is my favorite of the year. Hence the phrase, they're not worth their salt. Of course, this was directly after the soldiers peppered you with insults. You have to be a sage to put up with that kind of treatment.
I am unsure if anyone also objected to their monopoly on vertical blinds, however.
Yeah, experts disagree on the best way to make a Venetian blind, but I say a good poke in the eye should do the trick. Man, I am starving. When is lunch, man? It's 9:30, Dave. Yeah, but I didn't know there were going to be so many stairs.
It's been so rainy and my gout is acting up. Hey, where's your shitter?
If you read Egyptian folklore, it speaks at length about the mummy's curse, which I'm pretty sure was motherfucker, close the lid.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
I'm living far away where anything can reach to see them.
Episode is 29.
So sorry we didn't do the live stream last rock and roll, but we were at Maryland Death Fest. However, we are also going to have a fest for this channel.
Yes, we are.
We will be at Maryland Doomfest in Frederick end of this month. So we will live stream on our Instagram. So stay tuned for that. A lot of bands we're unfamiliar with, but I have a feeling we may find a few diamonds in the rough.
That's right. There's going to be a lot of rumbling doom metal that we're going to live stream. So
As well as Vermilion Whiskey, which is,
it's true.
I don't know if I'd lump that into doom, but
And the final performance of Sarathon Gong.
well, that we're going to see.
I thought this was it for them.
Well, this year is it for them.
They said they're retiring from
Touring,
Yeah.
but they've been touring like mad.
Okay.
So they've been kind of going
So
on.
they might still do a festival here and there.
Oh, they've been everywhere. They're still going everywhere. They're going strong to the end of the year.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So shift gears a little bit. You ever notice that if you ask your friends to help you move, you will find out things about them that you never knew before,
Or one.
whether they're true or not. Even if you've helped them in the past and you give them a ton of notice, you get some strange responses. Oh, Mark, I'd love to help you move on Saturday, but I'm registered at the annual Heat and Hedonism Barbecue Cook-Off in Timonium. Hate to miss that, you know. Gee, Jeff, I didn't know you were a cook.
How about Stace? Congratulations on the move. I'll have to pass, though, as our buddy, Scrooge McDuck, is getting a wart removed that day.
Oh, well, you know.
The whole family is kind of nervous about the surgery.
Hmm.
Or, hey, sorry, can't make it Saturday. I do have my final dress rehearsal for that Civil War enactment.
Oh, God. This week's
Can't let that.
sponsor is a blasphemous penmanship seltzer. Okay. Screw the Ouija board. Nothing will conjure the Dark Lord better than a curly Q.
And, you got to make sure your pentagram is all calligraphied up correctly.
Anyway, getting back to moving. It's the same thing. You ever need something big moved and you have a friend that has a big truck and you finally ask him to help you? Actually, the F-150 is going to be in the shop all week. See, I thought they were putting in .9 brake fluid all this time. Turns out they were .5 in me, but it is under warranty. The fuck does any of that mean?
That's when you notice they actually have a bumper sticker that reads, "Yes, this is my truck. No, I do not want to help you move." So I'm sorry, I got to get the truck in the shop that day because the rear passenger seat heater isn't working. Yeah, I know it's July, but winter will be here before you know it.
Solid
Sorry.
excuse. Yeah.
Sorry.
So then you get the ones that actually do show up to help, and they start sharing health ailments that you never knew about. You better handle the dining room set, Mark. My chiropractor says I've been aggravating my T4 disc lately. That's why I make Joanna mow the lawn now.
Or, oh, God, I'm here. I don't know how much help I'm going to be. It's been so rainy and my gout is acting up. Hey, where's your shitter? Or they won't touch the big stuff. I can't touch that entertainment center, man. I got a soleus strain in the left calf that's been kicking my ass. I had to cut down to 2 tennis matches a month. Racquetball is just out of the question with that squeaky floor. Meanwhile, I'm looking at them going, gee, Bob, I had no idea you played tennis.
Yeah. How about this? You ever have someone blatantly break your furniture while moving it? You know, Mark, I think that dining room table looks better with 3 legs. Anyway, you're welcome, sir. Uh, Man, I had no idea that glass table was so fragile. I thought we could stack a couple more boxes of books on that thing. Mark, you ought to think about getting a little bit more sturdier furniture. Of course, then you're kind of obligated to feed them for helping you, and the complaints of hunger start at the most extraordinary times. Man, I am starving. When is lunch, man? It's 9:30, Dave. Yeah, but I didn't know there were going to be so many stairs.
Whenever I moved one of my kids, I always had the pleasure of doing it with my ex-husband, and we would just have these passive-aggressive banter all day.
Are you dating anyone?
No, not really.
Well, then you need to lower your expectations.
It's tough after you. You know how one man can be so endlessly disappointing.
You should do something with your hair.
You should do something with that beer gut.
Let me walk backwards with the mattress. You have no coordination.
Okay, star athlete. At that point, he takes a step back and falls on his ass. And I say, "Can I get a new assistant, please? Maybe someone limber?" Our feature interview this week is with Nikola, and Vedran Komlin of the Croatian space prog band Them Moose Rush. We have a fascinating discussion about the making of their mind-blowing Zapaxia record, bad pharmaceutical commercials, and unconscious murmuring. So stay tuned for that.
Yep, this is the Moose Rush with Old Bones. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth podcasts. And for $6.66 a month, you get a straitjacket worth of Mark and Stace.
We have music reviews there. On the show, we focus on ones that we really like. There, it could be ones we find medium to terrible to we like it. So you have to get over there and check them
I
out.
reviewed the latest King's X album over there. Could go either way. Is Sepultura's Roots any good? It could go either way. So you're going to want to head over and check it out. Plus, you get all kinds of exercise tips as well as yummy recipes from Stace, like satanic, what's it, chocolate cheesecake? Yeah.
And how to make potato chips in your air fryer,
Yeah.
as well as making hang basket, gardening tips, exercise tips. It's all there for our patrons. Less than you spend at Starbucks helps keep this podcast running. We also, like we said, we're going to the Doom Festival. We will live stream some of that on our Instagram page. Also, give us a follow there so you don't miss any of our crazy stuff. We're always brewing up different and exciting things for you. We like to be a little different, irreverent, if you will.
Irreverent, if you will. Okay. Let's talk about salt.
Salt was once so valuable, it was basically currency. Seriously, Roman soldiers were paid with it. No word how they got the actual food to use the salt on. It's honestly like paying someone with mustard packets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not many people know this, but Brutus and Cassius didn't give two shits about the future of the Roman Empire.
Really? Hmm.
Caesar was actually murdered for a couple pounds of Mortons.
Wow. Okay.
Pickle recipes were taken pretty seriously back then, you see. People heard the chant during the stabbing, "Salt, mine," which would become a popular phrase centuries later.
How about that? If you fucked up a lot or you were paid a reduced amount, hence the phrase, "they're not worth their salt." Of course, this was directly after the soldiers peppered you with insults. You have to be a sage to put up with that kind of treatment. It was so important, it's mentioned a lot in the Bible. In fact, back then, babies weren't baptized, they were iodized.
Countries actually have gone to war over salt. This is a fact. You can go look it up. In the 14th century, Venice and Padua went to war over a Venetian salt monopoly. I am unsure if anyone also objected to their monopoly on vertical blinds, however.
Yeah, experts disagree on the best way to make a Venetian blind, but I say a good poke in the eye should do the trick. Germs can't live in salt, and its moisture absorbing ability made it great help in making mummies. If you read Egyptian folklore, it speaks at length about the mummy's curse, which I'm pretty sure was, "Motherfucker, close the lid."
It's also unlucky to salt someone else's food because it's just a weird thing to do. I mean, if someone did that to me, I would just punch him in the face because I have high blood pressure and it could be seen as a murder attempt.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just plain bad form. You ought to see how I handle the Parmesan cheese grater dude at the Italian
That's
restaurant.
scary.
Get away from me with that, you son of a bitch cheese pusher. I always do allow the pepper guy because I think that huge wood wand could be used to assault me.
Makes me think of that Chris Farley sketch on Saturday Night Live about we've replaced the fine coffee we usually serve with Folgers crystals. And they tell him, and he goes, "Did what? You did what? Son of a bitch!" And he destroys the restaurant, right? And then later on, he's like all in a cast. He's all beat up. And they finish the commercial and like, "Sir, how do you feel now about our coffee?" And he goes, "Angry." He's still angry. Just keep those fires burning. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about the Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect is a fascinating phenomenon in which people share a collective memory that never happened. It has sparked discussions about the nature of memories, reality, and even the possibility of parallel universes. It's like some weird game of rumor and innuendo that gets morphed into our minds as truths. Yep, apparently all of our minds are tweaked. Great to know that we're all damaged goods. Here are some examples.
This was all started, and this sounds sketchy from the start. A paranormal investigator. This is one of those jobs like an astrologer or weather person where you get paid whether you were right or wrong.
How will we know? Yeah,
How do I get a gig like that?
exactly.
Maybe start with a divination degree in tea readings?
Yeah.
I guess it's like a rumor that people believe to be true. And despite never actually seeing news reports, in this case, the death of Nelson Mandela in prison, a lot of people created false memories of seeing his funeral on TV, etc. When nope, it never freaking happened. He was alive and later released.
The weird thing about these memories is they're apart tied to what actually happened. I'm sorry.
Most people will swear the Monopoly Dude mascot has a monocle. Nope. I guess it's kind of some weird voodoo with transposing the Planner's Peanut Dude. But that's right, the Monopoly guy never had one. Few people know that the Penguin game piece has perfect 20/20 vision. What happened to the monocle in the Umbrella Academy? And where the hell can you buy one? Lens crafters looked at me like I was a taco short of a Mexican platter when I asked.
I was there. What a spectacle. I mean, monocle. Does Mickey Mouse have suspenders? Nope. Sorry, wrong again. I'm pretty sure Mickey Dolenz had a pair, though. He had that song, "I'm a Believer" and "Keeping My Pants Up." Yeah. Well, it gets worse. Darth Vader never said the words, "Luke, I am your father." Go rewatch it. He says, "No, I am your father." Get the DVD out of dust. I will wait. And you know, in the 90s, he tried to change his name to Garth Vader and tour the country music circuit with his debut album, "May the Horse Be With You." He did have droids in low places, but the tour was a disaster.
You know, there was also never a peanut butter called Jiffy. There is Jif and Skippy. No Jiffy. That is a popcorn brand, you dolt.
Unless you mean the dorky kid in Family Ties, who also starred in the movie called "Killer Tomatoes Eat France," which I think did worse than the Darth Garth thing.
Sure, yeah, right. Somewhere there is this alternate universe where the Fruit of the Loom logo has a cornucopia behind the fruit. 'Cause, yep, in actual reality, there is none. I mean, they're just messing with us now.
It's becoming a basket case. All right, we must be stopped. Let's play a song. This is the Moose Rush with "Lapatop Pop." Okay, let's talk about Home Chef.
Our sponsor this week is Home Chef. They deliver meals right to your door. There is no need to go to the grocery store. There's no need to make a list. There is no need to worry you don't have something that
Certain
you need
ingredients, right?
to cook with. Everything is included for you. All you need is salt and pepper to taste and some olive oil. So our meals this week, I actually just got done making us a really yummy one. It wasn't that one, it was this one. Was a crispy brew pub mustard chicken cutlet. They do give you
We had it today.
that was really good.
fantastic. The fries are not great.
This actually had sweet potato fries, which you actually they give you fresh thyme. They rated this as an expert level, but honestly, I think once you figure out how to get the thyme off the stem,
You take one look at this and you say, I don't have time. Yes, you do.
it's easy. It's easy.
I saw the thing of time. I saw it.
So they also give you not only how the plated look, but step-by-step pictures as you're going along with your directions if you get lost. They're really good with their times and things like that too.
And if you don't get a card, if you lose the card, all this stuff's online.
Yeah, you can just go on your Home Chef account and they have your cookbook in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if you just Google it.
The food will be made, yes.
We also have for this week Zatar spiced salmon case with feta green beans. I always love how they throw cheese on vegetables.
Me and the cat, Vladimir, we have a thing for tuna fish. When I make it, he fights me for it, right? So I told him, we're getting into heavier shit. We got salmon cakes coming. Stay tuned for that. He's going to flip shit.
Also a little bit carby. It looks like they paired this with a beer on the picture.
How dare they?
Serving suggestion. This is a smoky chipotle chicken Milanesa torta. So something a little bit
I
different.
think I can handle that. Yeah.
So they also have many choices each week. You don't just get 3, there's a slew. I like the kind where you actually prepare the meal yourself. Don't like cooking? That's fine. They have express options. They even have options that are ready to go right in the oven. No fuss, no muss, cheaper than takeout. Pop them in and get a fresh and healthy meal. Use our link. It will save you off your first order.
Very good. Collectivation time. All right, good one this week, people. Grand Magus's Wolf's Return.
I never cared for the term stoner metal. There's just something so spicoli about that phrase, and it's been used broad brush by lazy critics for over 2 decades.
You know it, dude.
Since their very first album in 2001, the Swedish trio Grand Magus had produced stellar albums steep in epic and classic metal with infusions of folk, all capped by the luscious voice of one J.B. Christopherson.
No relation to Chris.
While the band has remained consistent and true to the genre over the last couple of decades, arguably the real collectible stuff is the 4 records released on Lee Dorian's Rise Above label in the early 2000s, with 2005's Wolf's Return being my personal favorite. There's just such a reverence for metal imagery in the lyrics. Hunters and kings, honor and defiance. Not a speck of the dreaded American-style irony. Plus, the 4 instrumentals on this album are hooky and full of folk metal magic like those classic Iommi pieces from the 70s. It's a short album considering the number of bloated, overlong platters dropped in the era of CD domination, but the 38-minute runtime simply adds to the magic notion that this is a record that would be just as well received in 1985 as 2005.
Yeah, you're right. That era, I remember that was when I was running the webzine, and it was like, we got to make the album 80 minutes because that's what a CD will take. No. Anyway, can I introduce the song?
Let's play a song by Grand Magus. This is Wolf's Return.
Okay, continuing on with Grand Magus, just take one listen to the bewitching strobe light riff that kicks off Repay in Kind. JB flirting with rainbow-style guitar harmonies for the solo. There's definitely a thread of 70s hard rock that runs through Grand Magus, like Coverdale singing for High on Fire or something. Instrumental Hemmed is essentially an exercise in bass heft, with some crushing doom power chords swirled in for good measure. In terms of huge JB-sized vocals, the title track may win the prize for the best on the record. When he croons, Shadow Fighter Iron Vein, fill my soul, scream his name, you may find yourself swept up in a broomstick sword fight with your calico. Riff-wise, not sure if they ever eclipse the opener, the one we're going to play for you now, Kingslayer. It's like an amped up Dio era Sabbath at its finest, scattershot with majestic harmonies. This album is high art metal majesty, important and deadly serious. Let the hipsters try to lump this in with Fu Manchu and Monster Magnet. You know better by those piercing eyes on the cover. The wolf has returned. This is Kingslayer. All right. Want to introduce the interview?
This is our interview with Them Moose Rush. This album is not their first. They have an extensive back catalog, but once you get into the magic they put into every song, whether it be Easter eggs or odd time signatures, which you will find that we talk all about, their videos are phenomenal, award-winning even. In fact, the one for Them Bones may just be a next one. So enjoy this conversation. We sure did. We talked a very long time. These guys are so interesting.
Croatian version of Sparks. How do you pronounce your names? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing them right, unlike our review, you know.
My name is pronounced
It was
Vedran.
really fun in the review.
Say it again.
Yeah. My name is pronounced Vedran, like as you can hear. I think I sometimes have like a combination of two English words that can, when spoken, sound like my name, but right now I'm
I got it.
not able to
Yeah.
do.
Vedran. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that works. That's fine.
Yeah, and mine would be Nikola.
Yours is easy.
Yeah, you're like Tesla. That's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like when
Oh,
we do,
you know, Tesla was Nikola, so that's already much more than average people I speak to. No,
yeah,
you know, it's just Tesla for them. They don't know it's Nikola, and it's actually Nikola is like a Croatian and Serbian name, very popular now again.
Yeah, but most people even don't know about the person Tesla. They just know the brand.
yeah.
Or the car.
The car.
Even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
Don't even get the backstory.
Yeah, they just know the car. They don't exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there are times, especially when we do the extreme metal show, if like we might be reviewing like a band from Turkey, a band from Sweden, and a band from the US. And sometimes we have to go through the reviews like 3 or 4 times before we record them because the names are like, there's no one to tell you if you're saying the name wrong, you know? It's just like, you know.
We even got a band name completely wrong. It started with V. It looked to us like it should be Vlitmas. And the PR person got back to us. He's like, you know, it's Ultimus. We were like,
It's too late to fix that.
Yeah, also,
Great.
the nowadays people start using V instead of U
Right.
in the names, so I'm sometimes pronouncing those wrong on purpose because you use the letter you want us to pronounce.
Right. They want that cult look with the V for the U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, and you start putting dots above O's. I'm just like, I don't even have that on my keyboard. I don't know what to do with
What's
it.
the O with the line through it? How do I say that? You know, it's just whatever. You know, so
Yeah.
So what is going on in Croatia today?
yeah.
Some rain, some sunshine, Sunday with the
Okay.
family, lunch, just relaxing on our
Yeah,
for
on
me
my
the same.
personal side.
That's good.
Yeah, we're all tired. There's a big festival called the Maryland Death Festival. We're about to go into day 3 tonight. I tell you, I'm too old to do this now. My legs hurt from standing for 7 hours,
we're in-
walking,
we're in-
got to go stage to stage.
Big time festival weekend here, yeah. So
So it's nice to have a quiet.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is it ending today or going for a few days?
Cool. It's nice weather.
Yeah, nice weather.
It's hot. It's hot. In fact, it rained last night.
It was kind of nice.
And
Yeah.
it was actually kind of nice that when it was raining.
Yeah, today's the last day of
It
it.
was Dismember who was playing, and they were like, "It's raining." We were like, "We don't care." It was so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, tonight's
Cool.
the big finale.
Yeah.
So
And then thank God we have off Monday for Memorial Day because I'm gonna need a day to recover.
we're deaf, from 3 days of metal. So yeah.
So we really love your kind of irreverent style. As you
Death
see,
metal.
we also kind of have a irreverent style.
Yeah.
Um, love the new album. It's always been just the three of you. You haven't had to go through lineup changes or anything like that.
No, it's been three of us
Yeah,
since the band started, so still going strong in the same setup.
Very cool. Yeah. The name of the band, where did the name of the band come from?
yeah, that's quite unique. Uh, hmm, I think my internet is a bit
Nikola
poor.
is trailing behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can you hear me
or
now?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fine. It's a little bit
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
delay, but it's fine.
maybe
Okay.
I'd say go
I like
closer to your
effects,
router,
yeah.
but not sure if you are able to have the same privacy then.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's quite unique for a band to don't go through a lineup changes, for so many years. We
Wow.
are together for now, I think 13 years, yeah, since high school practically.
Mm.
We met after high school, early college, and we never changed. We never had the need to change practically because we are compatible as people, as friends, and we have this musical chemistry, and we grew together. We tried recently with some keyboards. We had a lady from our same hometown. We are all from the same city, but yeah, she couldn't keep up with I would say our crazy ideas and tempo changes and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we
I'm
rediscovered, our force as a trio. We rediscovered how logistically it's nice, and how it's there is no problem in democracy. It's not possible to have 50-50 opinions. Somebody's always outvoted, and there are many advantages of a trio. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
and
asked earlier the name. Where did the name of the band come from? What is them Moose Rush? What is that? Where did that
yeah,
come
it's
from?
it's when we started as a band, there was some kind of inside joke with the mushroom between Nikola and Branimir. It was some kind of a birthday present joke, and then when were thinking about the band name, it was kind of the mushrooms,
Okay.
and it was our name for I don't know, maybe less than a year when we realized that when you Google the mushrooms, it's not a good PR for having a band, because now when you Google Demus Rush, everybody's gonna end up on your site. But the current name, and it originated from the same name from the mushrooms, but it's anagram, and other than that, it has no deeper meaning in it. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good
It's
though, because when you
anagram.
Google that, mostly you just end up with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to add, it's an anagram, but with a flaw. There is one E missing, and you would have to have the mushrooms if you want to have them Moose Rush.
Okay.
uh,
But that's really obscure, so sorry for that.
you would say you would have trum because
Right.
E is missing. Trum.
Yeah, we talked to a band from Scotland, Midas Fall, a while back, and one of the girls admitted that the one album they wrote was entirely on mushrooms. I was like, well, that explains a lot.
Yeah. Happens. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think we had one show as the mushrooms, and I think we were pretty young then. We drew mushrooms on our chest with markers, and we had some crazy wooden stand that had the mushrooms written on it. But yeah, those were
Yeah.
the good old days of
yeah.
crazy. crazy young.
So I've seen you guys described as space prog. Would you agree with that, or what the heck is space prog?
Well, it's hard to explain, but I think space prog is when you have a lot of delay and effects in the music. So we are influenced by one Croatian space rock band. They are called Seven Dead Spells. They
Okay.
are maybe you heard of them, not sure, but they mostly toured Europe and once Japan. But you should check them out. So they are much older than us. They are 10, 20 years older than us. But they are one of our influence. And this is where we heard first, how space rock can sound, and somebody put this label to us also. But I think it's just because of some psychedelic moments and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's an interesting style you guys have because I hear space prog and I think the songs are going to be like 12 minutes long, but you guys have relatively short songs. How did you is that a influenced by your local music, or how did you come to these short song lengths?
Um, Actually, we come from that because we hate prog rock. We hate long songs and long solos, and but we love this element of uh, changing. How do you call them? The tempos, the weird
Like tempo changes,
tempos,
right?
time,
Right.
tempo changes, time and time signatures. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is what we took from prog, and but we reduced it to a like punk energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very,
and
very
and
interesting
and
style. I like
and
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
also like the
and we
fact you
like
get
to we try to
16
make it.
songs.
Uh,
You get
yeah,
16
yeah, that was
songs,
quite.
not just a few.
We, it took a lot of cojones to do that, but
Yeah.
it was a little bit on purpose. Usually we make 10 or 12 songs album, but this time and when we throw away, some of the songs, but this time we couldn't agree what were um, the B sides, what were the B sides, and we simply
Right.
had too much fight of what to keep and what to discard. So we said, "Fuck it, let's just have everything."
Then
Yeah.
democracy prevailed.
Yep, there
Yeah,
it is.
It was 2-1 for
yeah,
keeping all songs or publishing just, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them. So 2-1 were for 16. So there we are. Here we are now.
Yeah,
yeah.
it also seems like, from your videos and your lyrics, it must be a prerequisite, to have a sense of humor to be in this band. Um, you know, do what kind of personality does each person bring to the band?
We are, as Nikola stated at the beginning, kind of three individuals that fit together on everybody's on a different level of their own, how to say, personality, but that's what kept us going all these years because we are so unique. And when we combine, everybody brings something else. So there's no like overlapping except the music part and creativity, but it's it's fun to work in that kind of environment because you got to trust the other one on some things because they know more about that than you. And like producing our album, the Branimir, the bassist, he mixed it, and we both of us had to give him all of our confidence it's gonna be good. Either and it was his first kind of adventure in that space, but also with the music videos that I created, the guys had full faith in my creative juices and knowledge. So they let me be, for like 2 months, and I come back with a finished product. It's not like typical video producing where the client is having 100 changes over the span of the 3-minute video, and they were just happy from the beginning. And it's fun to work like that because over the years you start to trust each other on in their areas of expertise, and together you enjoy playing music, and the other stuff, logistics, and everybody handles some part of the job.
So it was just you that came up with the
Yeah,
moose
that
and
was
the
quite.
spinning belt and all that? Is that's all you? What brought that idea around for the
The spinning
video?
belt, what?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
you have the video with
It's the cover with the moose and the conveyor belt and everything's kind of relying on each other. It's a little machine with the
yeah,
moose spinning
where it
on the
spins.
wheel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can correct word because people tell that we are like one machine, the three of
Oh.
us, and that was the idea behind. They tell us we are a riff machine, Somebody
Okay,
told
yeah.
us this, and this was yeah, that was the inspiration, and this was actually a drawing made by Vedran, like a handmade drawing when we were on tour, and I painted it, and it was like a very abstract, we didn't know what will, and it was a present for actually one kid of the organizer
Okay,
of the event where we played.
okay.
And we liked it so much that after 1 year, we remember this picture, and Vedran created a 3D model out of it, and video. So it represents, all of these colors and this abstract birds. They represent also in some way our creativity. It's very mottled, it's not let's say monochromatic like many of the metal bands have, but we also have some metal elements in our music. So it's the cover is screaming among among many different monochromatic covers. So but it's a good representation of our personalities.
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like if you look at it really closely, none of it could work without the other person doing their part. So I love that representation.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I read somewhere that you guys have Morse code in some of your rhythms and some of your songs. Is that right?
Little Easter eggs of
Well,
cryptograms.
yeah, there's,
Yeah.
I think that the specific thing you're talking about is at the end of one of our songs. We had
Mhm.
like on a piano key. It was just when you translate it from a Morse code, it spells out. Is it is it murder or something else? It was a long time ago.
No,
Or
no, it's
no.
I know exactly the story. It's the song is called Red Rum. It's obviously inspired by the Shining, the movie Shining, and it's but the name like a murder reverse came from the riff, which is ta na 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 na, and this riff sounds the same if you reverse it.
Ah.
So you could reverse completely the song, and it would the much part of the song would sound the same in reverse. And that was the idea to make this kind of symmetric song, and then we added also in Morse code we typed in murder also for the on the
Got it.
keyboard,
Yeah.
on the
Nice.
piano, yeah.
One of my favorites.
So
Yeah.
we do
Love.
that kind of things.
Yeah, but it's always something that you're not mm, expecting anybody to notice, just for fun. And then
Yeah.
if somebody says, "Oh, what is this thing?" and then you have some kind of funny story, but you don't push it from the start. So there's, I think, a lot of those Easter eggs hidden in songs that we even probably forgot when we were making them. It was fun, and then years on later, if somebody asks, he's like, let me think about it. What was the story behind it?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love like
we
little
have.
clever insider things like that. The only other band I've heard with Morse code was Jagdpanzer had more in their last one, had a little bit
Oh,
of
YYZ is that's the
Yeah,
first one. Yeah,
yeah.
YYZ, but yeah.
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 But from us, it comes maybe from some geeky point of view. I would say we all three went through the same high school, and it's mathematical high school.
Ah,
It's science and mathematics in the same city. And we were kind of inspired by mathematics, in some of the riffs. We have one game in Croatia, which is called Štoflec. It's about skipping the seven, and it can be a drink game, um, or it can be, a hitting game. And usually we play the if you mess up, the other guy gets beaten up, And it's
okay.
about skipping seven and going as fast as possible. So you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go from beginning again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then everything which can be divided by seven or has seven in it, you have to skip it. And
Wow.
we made a song like with this dun, 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 and then you skip it, and then we try to create some kind of intro out of this. So it's quite
Mhm.
funny.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Like it. You guys have kind of been a do-it-yourself band. What kind of have you learned from, kind of trial and error are the best ways like to get a video done? Or you guys are great with your promotional shoots. Like I love that one where, somebody's got their hat over their face and somebody's got their shirt over their head and it just drags your attention in there. Who was the mastermind behind a lot of those great promotional ideas?
I'd I'd say that the advice, and for us, it works in kind of a way that when we know we have to do something, we start thinking about it, and then we cook some ideas. And sometimes we tend to procrastinate until the latest moment it has to be done, like the latest promo shoot. We knew we were gonna need some photos for the album release, and we knew we had a lot of time to do them. And then it came to like last few weeks before the release. We just said one weekend, okay, guys, today we have to do them, and we got together, and then we kind of started brainstorming from first to second to third idea. And then when you start rolling the ball, you end up with some good shots. And also we had some ideas pre-planned that when we recreated them, it didn't turn out as good as we thought. So we just scrapped them and went with something else that was in kind of heat of the moment on that day, and it turned out to be good. So for a lot
Yeah,
of
but
stuff, we yeah.
I think in general, what's maybe more interesting is this DIY approach, with the pictures, with the music, with the videos. We understood quite early that nobody shares the same enthusiasm for the band as us, when it comes internally from us. And we understood that quite early, and we had this luck to have Vedran in the band, who is also a professional motion graphic expert, and in general, all of the ideas we can make them true, from the graphical point of view and from the promotional part. It's very spontaneous, and you're not paying anybody to do it. You are playing around with stuff.
I
You
love
Yeah,
know,
that
we
it's
bathroom
always
shot.
more
Oh my
organic
God.
when it comes from the band.
we had some experience with outsourcing
What's
people
hot?
to do some stuff, and that's how we realized in the start that you get hyped about the video shoot, and the guys are super cool, and then when you see the final product, it's nowhere near something that you wanted it to be. And then you come into those creative disagreeing moments where you have to just say, okay, it's gonna be scrapped all together, and then you start creating stuff yourself, or you just continue creating it by yourself, because it's hard. You have to put more time in it, and hit many balls during that period. But in the end, you're pushing towards the product you're gonna be happy with. other than just giving unlimited creative uh, freedom to somebody else that's going to take your money, and then in the end it's just going to say sorry, that's what I thought, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's always a hard moment when it's like, I hate it, but I still have to pay you for your time. I mean, that's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but we were also lucky to not just to brag ourselves. We along the way during the years met some also creative people for some video shoots and some other stuff. And then when we did first second thing with them, we just started collaborating, because we didn't have any need to find somebody else that's gonna do it, because if you click once and second time, brainstorming a music video and it turns out great, you just third time you also reach out to the same person, and you just continue the journey.
I love the one with you guys in the cars. Like you're all racing. How in the world did you get that to come to life?
Yeah, that was also I mean, for this album I did the most music videos for the band, but I had some free time on my hands, and the idea came. How did it came
With the
together?
with the
Yeah,
honking, the idea
yeah, yeah.
the
The
idea
the
came from the riff. The riff is it's like honking, in the
Ah,
car. And it reminded us on
waiting.
some traffic jam, and then we brainstormed. It's actually on green screen, It was we were sitting. Vedran made like this small wooden steering wheel, and we were all sitting like crazy people in front of the green screen for 4 hours each,
oh yeah.
and uh, and Vedran wrote a whole script. Do this now, do that now, uh, and
Nice.
yeah, it was so funny that, and it's so good also for the kids that one guy on tour now, when we played in Germany, he asked us to take a photo of with all of us together, that his kid is sure that we are alive, that we were not crushed by, by this pressing machine, and that Vedran is not blown into pieces. And the kid was so happy that to see us alive.
Yeah,
Funny, you
it's
don't think of these things when you make a video that a child's going to be concerned about your
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the fun part with our music videos that have crazy stories inside them, that everybody sees something else and finds it interesting and funny in some other way. That's why we also, with our creativities, mm, we never thought of creating, like how do you say, those typical band videos where band is playing and you have some random B-roll. So we strive to create as much as we can interesting moments in our music videos. So there's also another element that people hook up to, and find something interesting to see other
Yeah,
than listening to a
like
song.
like best bridge ever. In this video is literally going through a bridge, and there is a sign, best bridge ever, and it's also a bridge in the song.
Yeah, it's kind of an Easter egg internally. When everybody saw it, it was laughing. But sometimes people don't even see it, and you don't care. But whoever notices it is gonna laugh hard.
That's
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, on this
Obviously.
album, I love the one for Old Bones. There's the crazy typewriting guy is back again because he was in Duma Do Honey as well, and I think he's appeared in a couple. Is that the idea is, and I love it that he's on a typewriter and not on a laptop. It's so much more dramatic with the roll
Yeah.
going and the paper coming. And where did the idea for him come from? That like what he's typing kind of comes to life? Is that's what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. The initial idea for this character was again the sound and the riff, because is on the cymbals. It really sounds like a typewriter. but
I,
it's not a
if
typewriter. And this is what reminded us of a typewriter. And this is when we started to brainstorm. Okay, we should do a video of somebody um, writing a story, and he's actually the trick here is that he's creating a universe around him. You know,
Okay.
that's the whole moment, and this is what we are revealing in the Old Bones video. Because if you notice at the beginning when he's typing, things are falling from heavens, and things are, this bar is being created. So he's actually this god of his own universe, and he's creating all of these scenes and writing stories, and it really needs to go with the music. And we found this guy. Uh, First of all, he's very he looks great, like charismatic with his yellow mustaches, and we simply needed to have him appearing in our other videos. And this is from the director who won a couple of awards for this Dumadu Hani video. He won an award in Croatia for best music video that year, for example. And we were really happy to bring him back to life, this character and this director. And this year he will send it also to some festivals, and we will see what happens. And we brainstormed together again. It's always the band is heavily involved in the idea.
You don't often see somebody at a bar drinking coffee typing. I love it.
Yeah.
well, he's actually drinking tea, so
Okay.
It sounds like the riffs kind of drive a lot of the creativity. Do you guys get the riffs from just jamming together for long periods, or like does everybody kind of have their own hard drives with riffs on them, or how do you put the songs together?
yeah, I'd
We
say
mostly bring
that's
them.
yeah,
Oh, sorry, you can
yeah.
answer this one.
Uh, it's combination of both. Where I mean, I'm the drummer. I don't come up with any riffs. But Nikola and Branimir are the ones that sometimes find something interesting at home, then they bring it to a rehearsal, and we jam it out once, and then maybe revisit it two, three more times. And if we find an interesting thing around it together, we just store it in our database, and then maybe like a month later, when we have two more pieces, we just realize they can fit together, and then we kind of tinker a bit more about the whole concept, and then you just have like a blocked out song that we also store, and we collect those, and then we, like, I don't know, when we think we have enough, we just kind of draw a line and see what we have in that database and filter it more, refine it, and just there comes up the final
Yeah,
list
yeah.
for the album. So it's kind of a redo process from the start, and a lot of things that we jam like today, they sound great, but there could be a year or two where we find the second part that it fits to, because in our early days we our method was, oh, this sounds great, this part, and this sounds also individually, and then we just put them together, and then it took us some time to realize that not all individual good sounding parts are gonna produce a good song. So you have to filter and think in the whole concept of a whole song. So you have to be kind of strict on passing thing to a next level, because maybe some part is good on itself, but you need to find the fitting rest of the song for it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
understood. It sounds very mathematical.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's done on a whiteboard, so
Yeah.
we always have a whiteboard, and we are typing, writing down how many times each part goes, and in which time signature is it, and
Yeah, but I'd say that the whiteboard is there to help us communicate together, because when we have some kind of riff, one of us is seeing the one unit as like a bigger part, one of us is counting the smaller parts, and then when you have a whiteboard, you just like draw it out, so everybody
Yeah.
sees the same thing, and it's easier to compose the whole thing. Because
Yeah.
if you say we're gonna do this 8 times, everybody thinks 8 times something else. So
Yeah, but once we pull out the whiteboard, it's we all agree that it's time to make a song out of that jam. Because otherwise, if we don't pull out a whiteboard, we would simply jam for another half an hour. We would never make a song. We are quite a jammy band.
That's funny. I remember I interviewed Ty Tabor from King's X years ago, and he said I asked him like how he was doing with writing the next album, and he said the strangest thing, he goes, I've got 2 songs done and I've got 5 that are almost good. And I was just that what you're saying kind of reminds me of that, where it's like there's 5 pieces and 2 that we finished, and we got to find the way to make the 5 that are not good yet almost good, you know. So,
yeah, and it's kind of
yeah.
the problem with that right now. We are, working on a stuff for a new album, and you have to remind yourself what have you created in the past year or two when you had spare time. You were just throwing out ideas, and then we also just use the phone, record it, so it's not forgotten.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we had those good moments and nobody pressed record on a phone, and then it's lost forever.
Yeah.
So
God.
you got to be
How did we
careful with
survive
that.
without phones, for creativity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really we rely so much on technology. Mark and I use Google Docs, and that way we can both be in the same document, tweaking each other's ideas and stuff. And it's kind of like a whiteboard in virtual space, except he can be at work and I can be at work, and we're working on our work.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
You
but
always delete Mark's stuff, admit it.
I I'll think of things and I'll just email myself an idea for like a joke or something. And sometimes after I've been drinking, the next day I don't know what the hell I sent myself. Like I'll be like, what is grocery store cheerleader? What is that? I can't remember why it was funny. Whatever. So
yeah.
that's funny. Yeah.
So I know we had a little bit of track specific questions on this
Yeah,
album.
yeah, definitely.
Zapaxia, what does that mean?
Mm.
It's uh, Zapaxia is when you put two words together. It's Zap is from Led Zeppelin, and Axia is ataxia. It's a project of John Frusciante and Josh Klinghoffer and Flea, I think, in one of the moments when they were jamming, they had a band called Ataxia or Ataxia, I don't know how to pronounce it. And we simply our intro riff sounds like a Zeppelin riff, and like it's stuck, like a DJ when it's stuck.
Okay, right.
And this is the Zeppelin part, like just a teaser of a Zeppelin riff, and then it's this. It reminded us of energy of this band, Ataxia.
Yeah, the name for the song came first, and then we just took it
And
for the
then we
name of
liked
the
it,
album.
yeah.
Yeah,
We took it
because
for
it's
the
kind
name of
of a
the
unique name that when you Google, there's nothing
yeah,
similar, and you always have to think about those search engines when you create
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And it's also a
yeah.
cool word, and we are glad that all English-speaking people are pronouncing it as we imagined it, because there's always some possibility that it's gonna be pronounced differently in the English world. So that's a win for
Yes,
this album.
but how does it sound to you? What does it
It,
remind you
the
of?
the riffs are almost a little eerie to me, the way they kind of are distorted, and it creates kind of like some eerie effect, kind of like
No,
Twilight
no,
Zone.
I meant the word, Apaxia, just the word.
Oh, I was trying to, it almost sounded like alliteration to me, so I knew it must be some term for language. But
Okay.
it's such a beautiful word. Edgar Allan Poe was always big on the way words sound. Like cellar door was one of his favorite words because it just flows. And I think it's really important, and it's such an interesting sounding word. But again, if you Google it, and this is good, it only comes up with your album. But I was like, wow, it's such a neat sounding word. It has to have a
I
meaning.
thought it sounded like some sort of a cleaner.
Yeah,
Spray
we were
some
worried.
Zapaxia on it. And
Exactly. We were worried that it sounds like a medicine or something like that, like
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, that was
pharmaceutical.
my
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, take Zapaxia once a day.
That's
You'll
right.
know
It could
where
be a
you're at.
drug too. All the side effects. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, but there is a similar medicine. I don't remember the word now, but it's something for female hygiene. It's something very embarrassing. It's something
But yeah,
for
and
the vagina.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys have this in your part of the world, but in the United States, the drug ads are always on for whatever the drugs
Okay.
are, and
Yeah.
it's 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 comical because they have to list out the side effects, and it'll be for like dry skin, and one of the side effects will be suicidal thoughts or actions.
Or death.
Right. And I'm just like, for
Tumors
for
are
dry
possible.
for dry skin, you're willing to risk suicidal actions? I mean, just I don't know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
We,
So
we, we we don't have those statements, but our law says that at the end of the commercial, there always has to be that statement. And in the most commercials, it's sped up because they want to use
all right.
more airtime on the commercial. And then
All right, nobody
it's
gonna
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's funny. So, questi ultra indicazione.
but it's always the same sentence. But some commercial have it faster, slower, female, male. So it's always funny to see which one is it
Yeah.
or how they recorded it. So yeah.
So I also didn't know what like Derndusa meant, but when I Google it, like women's profiles come up. So is that a woman's name?
No, actually, it's this one we didn't translate to English. It's a Croatian word. Uh, and we left it on purpose because we like it. We liked it so much. This names of the songs which come first. And afterwards maybe you are jamming and you have to remember the song somehow.
Working
And
names, yeah.
working names, yeah. And this Drndusha in Croatian, it means something which makes you dance. It's some which makes you shake your butt.
Well,
Okay.
actually,
Yeah,
it's not a common word. It's some kind of
Yeah.
abbreviation that we came up. So if you open the dictionary, there's not gonna be that word stated as something, but
Yeah, it's not
you can
official. It's
think
not an official word.
it reminds you of something like Nikola explained, something that's moving you or some other connotations.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it
And
was a working name that was then just put on album as a final name.
and someone is named that because their profile came up. I was like, no, no, I didn't want you.
okay.
Well,
Cool.
we'll have to find out who it is because we'll see.
Also, I love the name Cake Crisis Resolved. And I love how this one really changes up the tempo. But when I was reading the lyrics, it was shaped by the strings, new life, dead. Are you gonna call me name? Then I'm gonna suffocate. So I'm like, where's the cake?
Um, the cake is it's a funny story because we have in the last album we had the names of the songs were always characters like Dancing Maze is Ray's Dancing Maze, and then there is also this one song. It's Chris's Cake Crisis. Um, and this cake crisis, this sugar rush, is resolved now on this album with this song because it's this beginning with the tempo changes. It's still, this sugar rush. It represents this crazy sugar rush, and then the song goes to let's say a normal pace, so like a stoner riff, and that represents the resolvement of of the
Okay.
cake crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of a play on words
Resolution,
also.
sorry, resolvement is
Yeah,
not the
it's
word.
it's
Sorry,
it's
it's hard for us because it's not our mother language. So
That's okay. Yeah.
no, you
I know
just
what
say
you meant.
it's late Sunday, so it's a better excuse. Oh, yeah, but the album before this one, it had, as Nicola said, Chris's Cake Crisis song named, and this was a perfect fit to just tie this name to the previous album and have kind of story.
It kind of
yeah,
reminded
and
me of you ever know the song Cake by the Ocean? It's kind of like a dancey pop song. But originally they were talking about sex on the beach, but they were talking with some foreign friends and they forgot it. And they're like, instead of saying sex on the beach, they went cake by the ocean, and that became the song.
Yeah. That's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with us it's again the music, it's not so much from the lyrics. Yeah.
It's neat the way you guys put your. We've interviewed a lot of bands. I haven't really come across one that kind of assembles their music the way you guys do. You're kind of in your own world. It's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
that the thing that keeps us going after all those years, because you accept the music part, every one of us has something else that's incorporating in the whole process, and
Yeah.
it's always interesting to have fun on multiple levels. So yeah, like when we get to
Yeah.
the part for the visuals or the names of the song, we also give ourselves some time and think about it and have fun if we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Why not?
But really for us it's a way to fight let's say all of this generic bullshit we are surrounded with, even sometimes we notice this in some of the festivals where we play, especially on a stoner festival or a metal festival. Um, all of the bands they sound quite similar, and
Yeah.
the ideas come from the same Black Sabbath or Caius or stuff like that, and it's like we purposely want to challenge that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you guys live. What do you like with a live show?
Even better. Yeah, there's
Uh,
we
Yeah,
we we were eager to do this tour this year because you notice really fast that the live gigs is the thing that's engaging the most with the new audience and existing ones. So we are always pro for more gigs is equals better, everything. Because you have the
yeah,
merch, you have the live experience, you have the personal engagement with people, and also when you just crank your amps as loud as you're allowed to in some
Right.
venues, the kind of decibels and just represents your music even better than some listening on your headphones or something like that.
so when you record, do you record kind of together as one instead of like say laying down the drum tracks? Okay, that's done. Laying down this and then putting it together.
we've done this for first two albums. We recorded them live, and then we just afterwards we added the vocals. Um, and this was a good experience because we could really, let's say, be free from the metronome and all of this. Let's say even the time in the studio, when it's done by somebody else. You always have this aspect of being a little bit nervous because you are paying for the studio and stuff like that.
All right.
So we've done the first two albums live, also because of this like the economical aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but it turned out really good. And these last two albums were done, like really how you
Separate tracks, yeah.
normally separate
Yeah.
tracks. You first did the drums and everything. But what's interesting is we have this tempo changes. So we we even bothered this time um, to write the metronome as it's slowing down, even, to have the metronome even in that places, as it goes around. So it was quite challenging to do it, but we actually the Branimir, our bass player, he wanted to do it like this, as much as possible. Even though um, live, we change it quite a bit. We play even more live because you can imagine all of this changes and the ideas. They're even more
Pronounced.
how to say, pronounced and enhanced live. We slow down even more live, just to tease the audience.
Yeah, that's also a good thing with concerts and live gigs where we recorded some song on the for the album, and then playing it live, you just kind of polish it even more, and some parts become, you see on one show what's resonating, then you kind of improve it in that aspect, and that's also why we like to play live.
What percentage of your crazy ideas comes from weird dreams? All I could think of with Dolly's wedding, with Dolly Parton shaving monkeys, that sounds like one of my whacked out dreams. Where I'd be like, you couldn't believe what I just dreamed.
That's me, I have to admit, and it's really good that you mentioned this. A lot of the ideas, uh, also for music videos, come from my dreams. There is this one, the best one. We still didn't, we never recorded the best one because it's too demanding. I had a dream once because I was really nervous on flying the next day, and I had a dream that I bended my password too much just before giving it to the officer, on the border check, and in order to the picture was completely distorted, and in order to look like the person on the picture, I gave a password and I've done this.
Yeah,
And then it goes further, and you do this, let's say, and they let you through. And when you go inside the plane, everybody looks like this, and
Well,
stuff
that's
stuff
funny.
like that, stuff like that is inspiration. It was inspiration for one of our videos also. So yeah, I'm that guy who's writing the lyrics, and
yeah.
sometimes I bring the
I'm
ideas
pretty
to the
jealous of
video.
Nicola's dreams because I had dreams before and now I don't dream as much. But and then when we're talking about some ideas, he just has like a whole list of those crazy things that most of the times just translate to great content.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
I waited tables for a long time, and I still have dreams where I have to like take a tray of drinks, but to get it to the table, I have to like go across a pool this deep, and I'm trying to get, and everything I do, it's like I can't get this order out, and it's just
Yeah.
Yeah,
craziness.
I have those kind of dreams, not the funny ones like Nicola.
Right.
The repetitive, traumatic ones.
All
Yeah.
right, so we have a game on the show. So since there's two of you, I have 100 random questions in front of me. So I want each of you to pick three numbers between 1 and 100.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll go with 8, 69, obviously, and 73.
73. Okay, Nikolai.
Do you have 0?
No, it starts with 1.
Okay, then I'll take 1, 66, and 99.
These are very numbers driven men. So let's get it right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with 8. Be honest. How do you feel about the Kardashians?
Hmm.
We I we had some coverage on them here in Croatia, and we when it's all popped and became, with the Kardashians show, we kind of knew what was happening, but to be honest, for the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know how many years, I have no clue what's going on. So I'm pretty happy about it.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving on to 69. How much time do you spend reading labels at the food store?
No time, and I'm not proud with it.
You just throw it in the cart
I'm like,
or what?
Yeah,
oh,
just
tell me.
if it's something new that you never bought, you gotta be the one in the shop. Yeah, how it has zero
Right.
point something percent of something, but the current stuff and the daily stuff you buy, just the price. No small
Right.
letters on the label.
All right, so then we're off to 73. What is something that you do that other people might consider really weird?
Should it be related to music or
It's anything,
Anything.
anything really. Yeah.
I
They're
try to
good
think
questions.
of I try to think of something that's related to music. Mm. Oh yeah, it's the thing I do when I play drums. I always hum just some random note. It's like
Yeah.
and well, it's not a good answer because sometimes I think it's weird, but I do it just subconsciously, and I think that most people when they would hear like the behind the drums thing that goes on in my head, they would think I'm crazy. But I just do it on some kind of subconscious level. I'm probably thinking that I'm singing the song as a drummer, and it just goes and like
It's
we
really
had a
funny because we had problems with that during recording. There was something humming, and we thought it was the floor tom, because it was so deep. He has a
Oh,
really deep voice, and
that's
then and
funny.
when we turned up the volume so hard, we understood it's him. It was so funny. We were laughing for half an hour.
That's
Yeah, but
funny.
if you stop me in the middle of some song and ask me, were you humming? I would not be sure because it happens so spontaneously or subconsciously that I'm not even aware of it.
Right.
And when the situation in the studio happened, when we realized it was me humming, I was like, okay, how are we gonna fix that for the recording from now on? Because I have no intention to do it. So how am I gonna stop myself from doing it? So yeah, pretty weird thing.
It was like your moment of Zen, like, oh.
Yeah, it's something in my brain. I don't know what.
Yeah, I make some kind of sound when I'm really enjoying food, and Stace knows it, and she'll say, "You made your yummy sound." So I know it was really good when I made, and I don't know what it
I made
is.
him dinner and the noise
I
comes.
don't know the noise. I don't know what the hell I
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
And
it's
she knows it. So yeah.
the same thing probably when I'm really grooving and thinking that I played good section. That's
Yeah.
when I hum. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
All right, Nicola, you are up. Number one, what is the worst vacation that you ever had?
First vacation. It was 3 years ago when my daughter was born, 2.5, something like that, in the summer, uh, because I started to have some stomach problems, and I couldn't eat anything. I really needed to be on a diet, and we were on a beautiful, coastal part, and I wanted to enjoy myself, but I discovered I have some this stomach issues,
Well, that's never good
and
when you're
it was
traveling.
quite
Yeah.
quite serious, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you were
So
eating
yeah, and
toast the
it
whole
was
vacation?
probably induced by not sleeping, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Sucks.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The last time we had this question, do you remember?
Hmm.
We were interviewing this band, and they're a couple, and the singer was
Oh,
was the female, and she said, "It was a trip that my husband booked. I'm sorry, Nika, but it sucked. I know you tried." It actually almost created like an argument. It was hilarious, right? She listed out all the things that he booked that were wrong, and she would have done them differently. It was great. Yeah. So,
yeah, my daughter and her fiance went to Bali on this big 2 week trip, and there's something you can Google it. It's called Bali Belly that you get from kind of local food because you're not used to the bacteria and stuff that's in there. And they actually had to have this guy called Mr.
Mm.
Jabba come up and rub her fiance's stomach and do some weird stuff and make some weird witch doctor tea, but it worked. I
yeah,
don't
all
know.
this is on film. Yeah, really
I know.
weird. Yeah.
Bizarre. All right, so we are up to number 66. If you had a time machine, what period would you go to visit?
Mm. Probably future. because I'm really curious. I'm uh, quite positive about the world, not like most of the people, most of the people are thinking that we're all going to die out of nu- nuclear wars and pollution and stuff like that. But I think the world is getting a better place step by step, and I would like to see that if this came true or not. And maybe it would be just maybe 100 years in the future, not too much.
And I think we're more resilient than we can imagine. Every time I see a frickin' weed growing in the middle of the street through a crack, I'm like, look how persistent life is. And I think we're the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be more
Yeah.
practical than Nikola. I would
Cool.
just go back in time and buy some like a bunch of Apple stock or something like that. That's how
Capitalism.
I see that opportunity. Just go back, make some money, and then continue.
There you go.
Right
Yeah,
now with
very
no
practical.
extra, insights
Yeah.
of the cultures and stuff like that. Just money.
All right, Nicola, your last one. Is there a song that, in your opinion, where the remake is better than the original?
Oh, sure. Um, I actually grew up listening to Nirvana. Um, I'm, 90s slash zero. How do you call this? Years, 00.
Yeah.
Millennium.
Yeah.
And I yeah, Millennium, yeah. And I really like Man Who Sold the World, the acoustic version of Kurt Cobain, of David Bowie.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds more magical than the David Bowie version. And that's the first one which comes to my mind.
I always like a remake that's completely different.
Yeah.
Just they ripped
Mm,
it out and put it back together, and that's what I like.
Do you guys do any covers?
mm. No, not really. Not
I
really.
think it would be interesting, like if you guys did like a Taylor Swift cover or something and turned it inside out. I think that would be great. Yeah. Just an idea.
We have
Billie
sometime
Eilish song, something.
sometimes we have fun on in the rehearsal room, and then we just the bassist or some of us starts playing the most uh, cliche riffs from the those songs that you don't want to play, and then we just like 1 or 2 minutes we just play through it and then kind of uh, over exaggerate the typical parts. I don't
Yeah.
know why sometimes we do it and it's funny for us, but that's all that we have in our book of covers.
Yeah, that's what we need is a Taylor Swift song with that like 5/8 time signature, like in Jerry's bacon flavored vegan person. I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
exactly. Shake
We
it
can
off.
we can
Shake,
we
shake,
can
shake, 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 shake,
yeah, we
shake,
can try
shake,
and
shake.
say that some of our songs are covers that don't uh, sound to like anything else, but if you wanna, we can pretend.
yeah.
So you just got done a bunch of shows in April. What did your set lists look like for those shows? And do you have a most memorable show from the batch you just did in April?
Uh, the songs are a mix, or they're mostly from Zapaxia. We took because it was a promo tour of Zapaxia. But we start with some older songs from previous albums just to get warmed up, and then the middle of the concert is just all Zapaxia, and then we finish up with a couple of our classics like Sandstorm, Gods of Time, Duma Duhani, and Red Rum. This is because it finishes really intensively. Uh, and the best show was in Germany on Friday in Nuremberg. This was a club which can fit around 200 people, and it was packed. And we were there before, so people knew us from a couple of years before, and they knew the songs, and they were dancing throughout the whole concert, which is really for us rare because usually we are quite obscure band, and usually, when we play, everybody's really thrilled but confused because they're not prepared.
Yeah.
They don't know the songs from before. They maybe just know one or two songs, but these guys knew more songs, and it was awesome. Really, we stayed until 4 a.m. Just to sell the merch. People wouldn't let us go, so it was
That's
best. It was
great.
the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best feeling when it hits you by surprise. You're just okay. Today we are playing here, and it starts filling up. We were the headliner, so the third band, and then you go on the stage, and the audience is great, and there's some communication on everything fits, and after the show everybody's happy. You are happy, they are happy. So yeah, great feeling.
Yeah. And Germany is really a really good country to play in general, this kind of music. It's people are listening to records there, they're
Hmm.
quite knowledgeable about music. We were surprised by some of the fans, going into the detail after the concert, asking us about particular parts of songs. They're quite on a higher level, let's say, than what we are used to.
I've had
Yeah.
some bands have told me that in Germany that people have come up to them and said, "You didn't play my wife's favorite song." Like that's how intense they are. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they are quite
I can see
intense.
that
Yeah,
happening.
this is a big problem. You've not played my wife's favorite song,
Do it again, go back.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you over here someday. I think you would have a lot more people singing along.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Very original, very creative. I love it. So
Yeah,
there's,
we're going
there's
with the
no AI
flow.
of them. There is no AI version of them Moose Rush. And it's not
No,
gonna happen.
no. They it's gonna be hard to train that model.
Right.
But
You'll break the internet trying to
yeah,
do that.
there's a lot of data on it, but it's hard to be trained like we
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
I like the to say it, what I was starting to say. It's like we go with the flow as three of us, wherever we end up. I think we are always happy that we are there because we do this for firstly for us, then second comes the audience and people. So as long as we are happy with what we produce and the shows and stuff like that, we're gonna be happy with overall picture. So who knows in future what's coming.
Falling on deaf ears.
This is Deaf Ears 1, Richard Thompson's Ship to Shore. Richard Thompson is a player's player. Since his upstart days in the UK's folk rock fusion of Fairport Convention in the late 60s, to his acclaimed body of work with Linda Thompson, to his prolific solo career, the man has done nothing but push the envelope, blending genres, blending styles, always packing in dollops of his signature guitar wizardry. The dark, doomy thread that runs through his music, from folk ballads, some of the most darkest music ever penned. Everyone's poisoning their spouse or being eaten by wolves, to waltz time acoustic workouts to modal drones, frosted with his deep, unique vocal bray, so distinctive. His songs have been covered by everyone, from David Gilmour to REM to Bonnie Raitt, and as he enters his fifth decade of making music, the beret-wearing 75-year-old shows no sign of slowing.
Recorded at Apple Head Studios with engineer Chris Bittner, who's worked with the likes of Rich Robinson and Coheed and Cambria. Ship to Shore is Thompson's first album in 5 years, no doubt delayed by the pandemic. 12 songs span 46 minutes, and they run the gambit from countrified clucks to tribal African colors. The album cover had me expecting a collection of jingles for Fisherman Friend lozenges, but upon closer inspection, it turns out to be another group of engaging stories as only Thompson can deliver them. The Rockabilly Pulse of Trust is an album highlight. Thompson lyrically exploring all manner of relationship paranoia, sharing vocals with his partner, Zara Phillips. The Old Pack Mule sounds like it could have been recorded under a tree with a lute in the 1700s. The folk flavor is bolstered by the impeccable groove of drummer Michael Jerome, dramatic violin from David Mansfield, and a stunning guitar solo from Thompson. The lyrics, literally about cutting up a dead horse. The best line, I'd stab my neighbor in the back for a little bit of meat. Hey, I warned you, this stuff's dark. The one that I've been relentlessly pursuing is Singapore Sadie. Just a simple waltz time pulse, bell-like arpeggios chiming under his warm voice. The talismans hang from her wrists and ankles to ward off the mischievous eye. He adds in a nimble solo that swells against Mansfield's violin to marvelous effect.
His solos used to draw me in first, but these last few albums have really shown this UK legend sharpen his songwriting prowess. The music tastes good and is good for you. Welcome back, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, this is Singapore Sadie.
Doesn't come every day. It comes like a bolt from the blue. Burning and blazing and
This is Deaf Ears 2, My Dying Bride, A Mortal Binding. On some level, humanity is drawn to darkness. I took Gothic fiction in college. European tomes full of tragic tales and bleak cold castles, or in rainy moor backdrops like Jane Eyre, Frankenstein, Dracula, and Wuthering Heights. Anyone with doubts about our collective fascination with human suffering can look at the modern-day popularity of true crime or the rabid horror sci-fi fan base. In these dark tales, we find support for our own miseries and terrors. My Dying Bride, hailing from West Yorkshire, England, have been turning this darkness into heavy music for over 30 years now. They started out as a slower than usual death metal, and you can still feel that in some of the vocal styles and the guitar riffs, but they have evolved their sound into their signature brand of gothic doom metal. This sextet are veterans of all things mournful. A Mortal Binding is their 15th studio album in 34 years, with 7 tracks with a runtime of 54 minutes, 53 seconds.
It's kind of like Candlemass, heavy and slow, but with the addition of a violin, minus the awful priest-like wailing vocals from Messiah Marcolin. I will admit normally this type of plodding, barely getting to mid-chug is not my usual wheelhouse, but I was surprised how both the poignant violin melodies and the combination of clean and growly vocals over these 7 tracks stayed in my head and resonated somewhere deep in my heart's core. I mean, I wouldn't recommend this as an inspirational workout music or birthday party backdrop. The vibe is more sit in a gothic leather chair, get a goblet of red wine, let the cobwebs grow, close the blinds, and ponder. In Her Dominion, the chug of the guitars of Andrew Craghan and Neil Blanchett bang in at once. However, riffs fall slowly here, as do Dan Mullen's drumsticks. The bass notes of Lena Abe are long and full of vibrato. When that bass line turns frantic like a cello, it is a precursor to a change in tempo. The vocals, check out this guy's name, the vocals of Aaron Stainthorpe, love it, are all glottal fry for this whole track. The synthesizer adds another layer of plaintive notes, and the thin violin melody of Sean McGowan rises and falls, returning for each verse, a folkish, dismayed, emotional tug. For most tracks, the guitars are chugging out a riff or engaging in minor chord harmonies.
Another favorite track is the second of 3 bells. Here, Abe's bass and McGowan's keyboards mirror each other's tones in a slow, chiming crawl. This time, Stainthorpe has a rich, full baritone that is half sung, half spoken. That reminds me of the songs in Les Miserables, a play who, like My Dying Bride's lyrics, have no shortage of torment, regret, treason, and dead children. A violin solo is never far away on any song, adding to its poignant, plaintive plea. The vocals of Stainthorpe make a tag team of clean and orc-like angry growls, with that aggressive guitar riff preceding the change of style. Day by day, she steps closer to her crucifixion. Fair ribbons of scarlet dance from her wrists. Hard by the gates to hell, her crucifixion. McGowan's violin solo in Thornwick Hymn is so melancholy, I had to stop the track and dig out my candelabra to brighten the mood. The epic 11 plus minute The Apocalyptist also features that razor skinny violin song and seems to feature a little of all their tricks, including both vocal styles, lurching drums and rolls, interludes, and the only true guitar solo on the album. Even this is woeful, like with the violin, not a run up and down the scales Malmsteen style. Stainthorpe admonishing, I cannot hold on forever. I cannot even lend you my wings. These thorns that I deliver for the crown of all kings.
Goth is my dying bride's calling card, turning pain into art. To me, sometimes it feels good to visit the dark side, brooding sometimes exactly what we need to get through despair and move on. It seems like perhaps the pandemic, personal tragedy, and the stress of this album has even my dying bride needing a break from the bleak. After citing that these are difficult times and some cryptic announcements and canceling for now all tour plans, I hope they can sit in the sun for a while, eat a banana, and get some balance, because the darkness will return, and with it, we look to my dying bride to bring the darkness into the light, so we can all examine it and come to terms with it. This is the second of three bells. Okay.
This is Deaf Ears 3, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, with Nell Ora Blah. For our third and final British Deaf Ears,
I don't know what.
I swear we did not plan it this way,
Yeah.
comes Kevin Stars and his band of occult-obsessed psych metal weirdos, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, with Nell Ora Blah, The Blue Hour. This is album number 6, is the first new music from Uncle Acid in 6 years, having toured the world with everyone from Ghost to King Diamond. It is obvious that Mr. Stars has used the additional time during lockdown to bring an absolutely bonkers idea to fruition. 19 songs span nearly 80 minutes, morphing the band's signature guitar gloom with icy synths, Italian voiceovers, and lots of telephone calls. If Pink Floyd wrote a film score to an Italian horror movie, it may have sounded something like this.
With all the shows I've been to in my life, I've seen, Metallica in '86. I've seen Maiden a bunch of times. I've seen huge shows. If you put a gun to my head and I had 30 seconds, seeing Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats was probably the greatest show I've ever been to. They came with we went to go see Grave Graveyard from Sweden. But they came out and as they played, they had synchronized just these images on these screens behind them of witches and orgies and girls jumping over fires and drugs and, demons and by the time Graveyard came out, Graveyard was musically better. There was no way you could follow that show. We were kind of like let down by Graveyard. So anyway, for this album, I was going to say this isn't cruising down the highway type of music, but ironically, I've been listening to this thing in my car for like a week now. All the song titles are in Italian. I read that Stars tried to actually learn Italian for this project, but he gave up on it and he had to use a translator. So the vibe is consistently creepy, cold, and grim. There's a lots of synths and not really a lot of vocals. Obviously, it's an album that needs to be experienced, not just heard, preferably with headphones, because there's a lot of trippy effects going on in the mix. There's a palpable sense of dread in Tortura al Telefono, torture on the phone, which takes about a minute or two of ambient noodling to get going. But once it does, it's a glorious Hammond-infused trudge-up Golgotha 1973 style with a wailing lead. There are saxophones, pianos, lots of killer bass lines from Justin Smith on this thing. The vinyl issues are breathtaking. Sherbet lemon-colored, blood red-colored. I am seriously thinking about going with the double turquoise. That's why we were late for the live stream today, because I was pouring over all the different vinyls, trying to decide which one I wanted for this. The label's already sold out of their vinyl, so you may end up blowing this week's beer money for a copy, but it is so worth it. I would have to say that of all the Italian horror movie soundtracks by British bands based on a movie that doesn't exist, this is my favorite of the year. This song is called La Vipera. Talked a lot about the Mandela Effect.
Yeah, I got kind of obsessed with that. I was thinking about things that weren't even listed that are like Mandela type effects.
It is. We could have gone on and on with
There's
that.
lots of movie quotes I got wrong. And nowhere in Casablanca do they say "play it again, Sam." I don't know how we misconstrued this in our heads. I mean, when you think of that movie, that's what comes to mind. It didn't even happen. Crazy.
Excuses why I can't help you move. Touched on that. Christ, we did a page of salt jokes for crying out loud.
Yeah, I had no idea salt was once currency. And I just remember the Morton's girl was just spilling it out behind her with the umbrella. And their tagline is, when it rains, it pours. But this poor girl's just dumping currency on the ground.
If you visit a really nice ranch out west, they won't just have salt licks for the cattle. They'll have paprika licks.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to the guys from Them Moose Rush for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 3 artwork courtesy of Casey Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ears bands include My Dying Bride, Richard Thompson, Uncle Acid, and the Deadbeats. Get a hold of all of them as well as Them Moose Rush. All content 2024, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Jesus Christ, where'd you get this? That's so fucking head.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.